Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the Holderhek channel. So as you may or may not know, I've been working on a fairly in-depth PvP guide for the Shaman, putting the Shaman against literally every other class in Spec and beating them because it's funny for me. So in making that video, part of it was going to be breaking down various Shaman PvP specs and talent builds, and as I was editing that part, I realized it's going to be like 10 to 15 minutes long on its own. And if there's one thing Google Analytics has taught me, it's that if I make a video that's longer than 30 minutes, nobody watches it. In learning from my past mistakes, I'm going to break this down into a 2 or perhaps 3 or perhaps 50, I don't even know yet. It's basically the Final Fantasy VII Remake. I'll let you know how many parts there are going to be after I make them. But part 1 is going to be the talents, and that's what we're going to get into now. We're going to go over enhancement talents, restoration talents, elemental talents, and various builds that you can use in every single talent tree that'll help you be stronger versus certain classes that perhaps give you trouble. So sit back, buckle in, and get ready to be staring at the exact same talent screen for about 15 minutes, because that's what we're going to be talking about today.
Welcome to the rice fields, mother.
First build we're going to go over today is what I call baseline enhancement PvP. This makes you a little bit more tanky. This gives your totems a little bit more range. It allows you to reincarnate quicker and with more health. And it allows you to potentially run flags as a backup flag runner in Warsong Gulch. So I'm going to go down the list, I'm going to talk about the specific talents that are somewhat out of the ordinary, and then we're going to move on to the next talent build, because I have a few of these to get through. So, shield specialization, one of the best talents for shields in the game. You should pretty much always take this over Ancestral Knowledge in PvE and PvP, just because of how much better of a talent this actually is. Now, I didn't take Improved Lightning Shield, although this is an extremely good talent, and if you want to do more damage to rogues, hunters, warriors, anybody, really, who hits you when you have Lightning Shield up, takes Lightning Shield damage, but it's most beneficial against melee. But, all that being said, I love Anticipation as a talent. Having 5% more chance to just basically completely ignore melee attacks is pretty nice. And I always love to put as many points into this as possible. And as before, I put 2 points into Ghost Wolf, so you can run flags in Warsong Gulch. If you don't have any desire to run flags in Warsong Gulch, or you don't ever see yourself doing Battlegrounds, like you're more of a dueler, I suppose, you could put more points in a Lightning Shield. But this is my traditional setup. I like Ghost Wolf. Now, Guardian Totems, extremely useful. You would really never take Enhancing Totems in a PvP scenario. You're really not worried about having a few more extra points of strength or agility. That's a PvE min-max concern. We're all about reducing cooldowns and making us take less damage. Everything else in here is basically exactly what you would do for any other enhancement build. Playing Enhancement without Storm Strike really isn't fun, and it does give you supreme burst potential, so Storm Strike is obviously taken. In Restoration, I went with Improved Healing Wave, because that actually allows you to use Healing Wave in PvP scenarios. Improved Reincarnation, having way more health and way more mana, and being able to reincarnate faster is in fact really slept on and super useful. Nature's Guidance, having that innate 3% spell hit, so your purges don't constantly get resisted, so your earth shocks don't constantly get resisted, so your frost shocks don't constantly get resisted. This is an incredible PvP talent, and going into Elemental for more damage is viable, but not having Nature's Guidance is awful. You know what else is awful? Not having Totemic Mastery. This increases the it doesn't, okay? It doesn't, but it feels like this doubles your totem range. It's insane how much more that extra 10 yards really helps. For this next build, we've taken all the useful points out of Restoration and dumped them into damage abilities in Elemental. We've even taken some of the talents that we were using in Enhancement and dumped them into Elemental as well. If you want Ghost Wolf, you can take it out of Lightning Shield. If you want Anticipation, you can take it out of Lightning Shield. But this build, we're just trying to do as much damage as possible, and that's what we're going to do. So, going down the list, we take Concussion over Convection because being able to cast one more shock with a mana bar doesn't matter. We took 3/3 Call of Flame because that synergizes perfectly with improved Fire Totems. Most people have literally no idea what Fire Nova Totem does, and what Fire Nova Totem does is kill you, and that's why this is great. Honestly, all these points in Elemental, what they're really here for is to help you be able to quick cast Fire Nova Totem and kill people with a thing that they didn't even know existed. The 2 of 3 Elemental Warding's actually pretty decent when you're fighting mages and, you know, mages, but it's not like, it's not necessary, but it's better than Earth's Grasp. And then I went 4 out of 5 Reverberation because there's not too much of a difference between 4 out of 5 and 5 out of 5, but you do have to remember that you could go 1 of 2 here and 5 of 5 here, but in my testing, 5 of 5 and 1 of 2 is nowhere near as good as 2 of 2 and 4 of 5. Numbers over and over again. I hope that doesn't hurt your brain. And then we have Elemental Focus, of course, really nice. And Elemental Devastation, which is in all cases, honestly, it's a PvE ability, but you could use it in PvP scenarios if you get a lucky Earthshock crit. You have to remember, though, in Enhancement gear and even in Spell Enhancement gear, you're probably only going to have somewhere between like 10 to 15% spell crit, which isn't a whole hell of a lot. So you can't really rely on spell crits, but they are nice when they happen. If you want to be more defensive and more dueling focused, as opposed to more just battleground focused, you can put 3/3 Eye of the Storm instead of 3/3 Elemental Devastation, and that would be a pretty decent build. Now I want to go into Nature's Swiftness Enhancement PvP. And you'll notice a couple of things switched around in the enhancement tree yet again, you know, Ghost Wolf, Anticipation. Honestly, this little corner, this is your flex corner. Do whatever you want here. I'm not going to talk about it literally every single time. But you'll notice we do not have Storm Strike. We swapped that for more points in the Restoration tree to get Nature's Swiftness. This is what I would consider a fairly powerful 1v1 dueling spec. Being able to Nature's Swiftness Healing Wave yourself, obviously you're not wearing full-on enhancement gear. You want to have somewhere around, you know, for Phase 4, 100-ish plus healing. For Phase 5, way more than that. Whatever the 2.5 set gives you, plus any other extraneous pieces. But the more spell power you get, and really plus healing, but you're not going to wear plus healing, so the more spell power you get, the more powerful that Nature's Swiftness Healing Wave becomes, and obviously the Tidal Mastery increasing its crit definitely helps from any other, you know, spell crit pieces you're going to be wearing. So this is really a maximum survivability, potential battleground off healer kind of spec. And this is funny because this was actually the spec that I used all throughout Vanilla WoW. I almost never used Storm Strike because I was just addicted to being able to sometimes full heal myself with the NS Healing Wave. It's really a game changer, and I think anybody who PvPs seriously, especially people who like to duel, this spec is going to be the one for you.
Lightning bolt! Lightning bolt! Lightning bolt! Sleep! Lightning bolt!
We now talk about one of my favorite things to talk about, Elemental Flurry. There's a couple different ways to spec Elemental Flurry. I'm going to quickly go over the PvP version of Elemental Flurry. I went over this entire spec and playstyle in my Elemental Flurry video a couple of months ago. You can check it out. Otherwise, let's go right down the list, and I'll tell you why I made these stunning yet brave decisions. I did not take Reverberation because I personally rely more on Lightning Bolt and Chain Lightning and the Elemental Mastery batching combo here than I do Constantly Shocking in melee range. Although you will be more in melee range than a traditional Elemental Shaman, I personally do not feel you need Reverberation. I would much rather have the triad of Elemental Devastation, Eye of the Storm, and improved Fire Nova Totems. In fact, I would never, ever, ever give up improved Fire Nova Totems, or improved Fire Totems, whatever you use it for Fire Nova Totem, because it's just incredible to hit somebody with a 1,000 or 1,500 damage Fire Nova Totem that they literally never expect. It's a Flame Strike Totem. It's incredible. We're picking up Elemental Fury. We're not getting Storm's Reach. You could, again, swap this for this, like then you'd have an extra point to maybe put into Elemental Warding. But I really like Eye of the Storm, especially when a Hunter is sitting there shooting at you, and then you can just free cast heals on yourself until you're ready to move into melee range, or move out of their range, or, you know, do many of the other things you can do. This doesn't really help you as much as I think people theoretically think it can, but what do I know? I just play Shaman incessantly and respec every day. What would I know? I don't know anything. Lightning Mastery, of course, and then Elemental Mastery. Elemental Flurry is named Elemental Flurry because you go down to Flurry in Enhancement, so the playstyle is Elemental Mastery, Chain Lightning, Earth Shock, Spell Batch. Then you immediately get Elemental Devastation, whip out the two-hander, run in, and kill them, boom, Flurry, and now you're an unstoppable killing machine juggernaut of the wrath of the elements. In theory, and also in application most of the time. Once again, I did not take Reverberation. You could dump points out of any of these three talents to give yourself Reverberation if you feel like it's absolutely necessary. But in all my experience with Elemental, which is actually quite a bit, I do zappy boy things sometimes. I don't find Reverberation to be really all that great. Like, just my personal opinion. Whatever, it's fine. Then we go, you know, the rest of the points here into Restoration, where we throw a 5/5 into Title Mastery for a synergistic, fantastic crit-a-palooza. The other Elemental PvP build, which is just, it's so different, guys. It's so incredibly different. Are you ready for how different it is? You take Elemental Mastery, and you don't have it anymore, and then now you have Nature's Swiftness, and that's... Honestly, it plays a lot different. Like, as easy as that was to do, this build plays more like, you know, like a backup healer, because you really don't have crazy burst potential anymore, as much as you think you would with an extra lightning bolt or something from Nature's Swiftness. It's a completely different playstyle, so you need to decide whether or not you want to, you know, when you press this button, make sure that somebody just gets deleted off the planet, or when you press this button, somebody gets healed, somebody takes extra damage. This is a more jack-of-all-trades shaman. This is a, I just want to kill you. Where are you? You have to die. I pressed the button. I pressed the die button. Where are you?
Yeah, this is big brain time.
And this is what you've truly all been waiting for. The ultimate big brain tri-spec. I do totem damage, a little bit of melee damage, and also I have points in restoration just because the tri-spec. Now, this is honestly, I've never actually spec'd this, but I've seen people spec this, and I can see it work. Honestly, I can really see this work in a theoretical, hypothetical, bending of reality, space-time kind of way. Like, you have all the cool things from all the specs, although not all the ultimate cool things. Obviously, no Elemental Mastery, no Storm Strike, no Nature's Swiftness. But you do have really good totem damage. You do have Flurry, which is the best talent in Enhancement, and you do have Nature's Guidance. Now, this tri-spec, it's pretty big brain. It's like it's like a 6 head. It's the biggest brain possible. And I'm actually gonna spec this way to try it out for, I don't know, maybe I'll do like a whole day of BGs where I do this spec. Oh, and of course, flex points, guys. Remember, flex point corner, these can go anywhere. I just put it in a dodge. But honestly, this seems pretty interesting, to say the least. So we have our tri-spec big brain. I don't even really know how to explain it other than totem damage, flurry, and nature's guidance all at the same time. Can it work? Will it work? I guess we'll find out. Okay, guys, that's going to be it for the talents I'll be going over in my PvP video. If there's a PvP talent tree build spec, whatever, that you want to see me go over that I didn't talk about, let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see what I can do about that. Check me out on Twitch at the Holderhek. That's where I'm going to be getting all the PvP footage for this video I'm making, so you can watch these things as they happen, and then later watch those clips spliced into a concise, well-edited, beautiful video. Also, if you like this content, you know, give me that like and subscribe. If you don't, give me a dislike and make sure to share this video with every single person you know, telling them how much you don't like it, so they can come watch it and judge for themselves, and potentially also dislike me and share it with all of their friends. It's great. I love traction. I need more viewers, please. Thank you. Until next time, everybody, stay frosty. May all your hits be crits. Have a good day, week, month, year. Various other sign-offs, and yeah, bye-bye.